This session of Derapy is brought to you by Just Hacking Training. What up, derps? Like the video.
Derapy. Season 3 of Derapy.
No real spoilers on this review. All I'm gonna tell you is you should probably go see the movie if you haven't seen it already. Superman is Supermaning. He is very believable. He's legit. In my personal opinion, I think that he is better than Henry Cavill. David Cornsweet, very Superman-y, very hopeful, very sweet, very wholesome, funny without trying, really cool dude. Now, still has that kind of like geeky, all gee shucks kind of to him, like Superman should. But that being said, there isn't a ton of Clark Kent. That's not a spoiler, and I also don't really think that's that bad. I like that in the Superman movie, he's really just Superman. I also find Lois Lane to be extremely likable. She's competent, she's confident, she knows her stuff, and her and Clark Kent / Superman's relationship is very believable to me. I don't think we get a ton of time to spend with them, but I think it's just enough to show that they have some real chemistry. I do find it kind of interesting that the movie just kind of throws us into the world. Like, the thing that kind of concerned me at first is as soon as the movie starts, tiny bit of a spoiler, they're just like, yo, he's 30. He's been Superman for 3 years. He dealt with this invasion 3 weeks ago, but 3 hours ago, he took his first L. Now, I'm not gonna hold you. If you are expecting Superman to be this unbeatable, unstoppable force in this movie, that is not the case. You're gonna see him getting whooped a little bit. And I'm not gonna lie, I didn't really enjoy those bits. Not because I don't like seeing people struggle or go through adversity, but I'm just like, dude, I thought he was Superman. But when you see how Lex Luthor is moving, like the things that he sets up to take on Superman, it's actually very believable. And speaking of Lex Luthor, my boy Nicholas Hoult in his bag. A lot of people might not be as familiar with him as I am, but I watched UK Skins a bunch because I had a roommate in college and still current best friend that loved UK Skins. So I've seen Nicholas Hoult from like when he was pretending to be a teenager in the United Kingdom. He's been in those X-Men movies. He was in that movie The Menu. Like, dude has a lot of range, and he really actually brings it as Lex Luthor. It just feels like pretty much every character that was in Man of Steel got an upgrade in this movie. I'm not gonna lie. He's way better than Jesse Eisenberg. Jesse Eisenberg in Man of Steel was like,
I'm gonna make them fight each other.
this Lex Luthor is a lot more
Swaggy.
powerful to me, and I like how it kind of goes into a bit more detail about how he runs his business, the behind the scenes of how he battles Superman. It's super cool. When you see it, you're gonna be like, oh, he's actually like kind of having a blast doing this. It's his greatest challenge. And this man will convince you that he legitimately despises Superman. It's crazy. We also get a couple of really cool side characters, and I thought when I saw the trailer, like all these side characters, I was like, oh god, this movie's all over the place. They're trying to set up way too many things at once, and you could argue that's the case, but some of these characters, especially Mr. Terrific stole the show. Now, I'm not gonna go into detail because I don't want to get into too many spoilers. The movie is literally coming out like today, but Mr. Terrific gets a few scenes, him and Lois together when they're like going to help Superman. Not a huge spoiler. Obviously, Superman needs some help here and there, but Mr. Terrific, he whooping ass. He opened up the whole can, bro. If you don't know him, you will become a fan of him after. Also, Green Lantern's in this movie. He goes by Guy, not Sensei. And Nathan Fillion, he's also putting a shift in. Hot Girl, unfortunately, doesn't get as much screen time as the others, or maybe she does have that screen time and she's just not able to do as much with it, but I don't think that's the actress's fault. I think they actually just didn't give her all that much. But when she is on the screen, there's a certain decision that she makes in the movie where she very much distinguishes herself as a individual, because there is a bad person that's playing her like she's like these other heroes, and she's like, yeah, I am not that guy, pal. And she rests his soul. Okay, Superman has a dog, and the dog also show stealer. Another character or like kind of gimmicky thing that I saw in the trailer, I was like,
They got the dog flying around. It's a super dog. What?
But that dog is so much more important to the film than I ever could have imagined. There's also a funny twist at the end about the dog, which would explain a lot of its behavior throughout the movie. But I love that the Superdog acts like a dog. Like, I really appreciate that. I thought that when this dog got introduced and I saw him dragging Superman around, I was gonna be like, this is a tough ass super dog. He probably talks like Brian Griffin. Like, he's probably a problem for everybody because he's such a willing companion. But he is just as much dog as he is super dog, if that makes sense. And they play around with that a lot in the movie, and I think it's extremely well done. Like, shockingly so. What I love in this movie is that there is a ton for Superman to do and deal with, almost to the point where it gets overwhelming. But it's not. It doesn't become too overwhelming for me. If you're following along, if you're paying attention, you're just like, oh, this is actually like a reasonable set of linear events that's going on. I think the problem is that if you were just expecting it to be just a Superman movie where it's just like a very normal, traditional movie where it's like bad guy gets beat by good guy, start to end, relationship, they have a fight, they make up, start to end. It's not quite that straightforward. I will say that there are certain elements of the plot that are a little bit confusing because of the timeline that they kind of gave us in the beginning of the movie. It's like really nitpicky stuff. It's like, should Superman and Lois Lane be saying I love you to each other when they've only been together for 3 months? It's like, who cares? There's this foreign conflict that's going on that many people are going to make a comparison to a current foreign conflict going on, but it's like, if you don't go into the movie thinking about that and expecting that, then it's just gonna sound like some generic thing that Superman decided to involve himself in, and his reasoning for it is like pretty straightforward. It kind of feels like a little bit of a rehash of like the whole Civil War thing. It's like, okay, we have this all-powerful person. Should he be able to just go off and do stuff on his own, or should there be some government oversight? But at the end of the day, I think the movie does a really good job of just showing like, man, Clark Kent, at the end of the day, Superman, he's out here for the greater good, and he's just simply trying to do the right thing, but he's also capable of mistakes just like everybody else. The last thing that I want to talk about is the actual filmmaking. The movie looks great, sounds great, and I think one of the best parts about it is the scenes where Superman is being Superman. When he's flying, it feels like you're flying with him, and he is going so fast. When he is fighting a monster that's big, you can feel how big that monster is by the way that the movie is shot. I love when he's in these action sequences that he is so hyper aware of trying to actually protect and save people. He's like going out of his way at one point to like save an extremely small animal. He does it really quick. It doesn't take that much away from the movie, but it's just like, it just shows the pureness of him and like what he is to his core. And there are some really nice, sweet moments that actually don't get interrupted by a quip or a joke. There's some really sweet moments with Clark and the family that raised him, Martha and John, and they actually just let those moments breathe. As somebody that doesn't read comic books really at all, ever, I felt like I was watching a comic book movie, actually. It wasn't trying to be anything else. It is silly and whimsical and outrageous, and some of the characters are really over the top and goofy, and it only feels foreign if you never watch like superhero cartoons or if you've never read superhero comics. If you were expecting like how the average Marvel movie is, where it's a little more serious at points, or all the characters introduced are a little more serious at points, everybody has their own distinct kind of silliness and flair, something about them that makes them unique. And it feels like the characters just have character, not in like a, oh, they have such great emotional depth, but it's like a play. If you've ever seen a play, whether you were in high school or if you've seen somebody like on stage before, everybody's a little bit more dramatic at certain points because they want to make sure that they're projecting or they are being as charismatic or bright as they possibly can. Lex Luthor is very cunning and snarky and petty and rude, and it jumps off the screen. Clark Kent is super geeky and silly for the few bits where we get to see him not be Superman. Krypto is a doggin' dog. He's the doggest dog that's ever dogged. The movie is a blast. My only issues are Superman shows like ridiculous levels of strength throughout the movie, but his durability doesn't seem to match at times, and he needed a little more help than I expected. Also, the physical chemistry seems better than the emotional chemistry when it comes to him and Lois Lane. Like, there was a point, it was like early in the movie where they were kissing, they were getting it on. I was like, oh my god, what am I watching? This is getting intense. And then they like start fighting, but then they never like actually really resolve the fight, but somehow they come out of it like, I love you. I don't know. There's a bit to be desired there, but also they did try to establish that it's early on in their relationship. Overall, not the greatest superhero movie ever made, but way more fun than I expected it to be. Please go see it. I'm actually feeling a light to decent 8 on it.
8.
Very good, very fun. Ignore the critics. Go see it. Have a blast. And if you want more movie reviews,
Like the video.
check out Just Hacking Training, a link in the pinned comment and description if you want to learn more about cybersecurity, how to hack, how to not be hacked. I think it's better to know a little bit about both, at least a little bit. Tap on that link, free to click the link. Trying to help y'all not get hacked. Love you, mean it, spread the bread, and enjoy the outro.
Cracking my windshield, I'm pissed off. If you a hater, get lost.
Get lost.
Yeah, it's my show and I'm in charge. Don't eat lemon pepper wings, but I'm the big boss. Please cut me slack, man, need a discount. About to jump off the roof, that's a dismount. I'm just playing. I'm okay.
Okay, but like, are you though?
Sorry for the pause, that's awkward. Start a podcast, cause I knew I was a talker. Yeah, my girl love me, but she's sick of my voice. And you know I'm pro-choice, so she do what she want. Why they hate when I get political? I'm a deep thinker, that's critical. Way too serious for a dude not getting paid. Man, I really need a shave. You know what sucks? Most of season 2 of Dave. Taking shots, but I skip out on the bar. Every single show, I swear I wanna raise the bar. Hope you listen close so you never miss the bar. Say the same thing, but I'm still going